Hi everybody. Making this quick little video here. It's not going to be too long or too in-depth, but basically I was able to get my hands on one of the new Basic Fun Frogger units. Now Willie over at Arcade USA told me last week that Frogger was available online on Toys R Us's website. So I ordered a couple of them, you can see them here, and I have just a couple of my other units here. I have the original Pac-Man, the newer version of Q-Bert, and as well as the old Coleco version of Frogger, one of the Coleco mini-cates from 1982-1983, and the 1990 version of Frogger from Excalibur. Now the reason I have these out here, I just want to talk a little bit about them. Now the Frogger, they've kind of did a little change up, and at first I didn't think I was going to like it, but I'm going to tell you I think I actually do. When they originally released the Pac-Man and Space Invaders last September, they used a simple black and white screen. And the reason for that was it was really just, I guess, maybe testing the waters. The units themselves were kind of nice. They have nice arcade artwork on them. They played pretty well. The sound effects were spot on. I'll say all the Basic Fun units have really good sound effects. The problem with the Pac-Man and the Space Invaders was that the black and white screen was, if it's possible, worse than the original Game Boy screen. When there's a lot of action going on, there's a ghosting effect. It's very hard to see where the ghosts are, or where the rockets and missiles are coming down from the Space Invaders, or even when you're shooting up at the Space Invaders. So that was kind of a big distraction for them, which is why, if you check my videos below, I've actually converted some of the Pac-Man and Space Invaders into Raspberry Pi units that are much improved, and I do hope you'll take a look at one of those. So when I saw these Froggers being released, there was talk about them going back to a static screen, but color and backlit. Now, a lot of people started to have a little uproar, if you will, on that one, because after the Space Invaders and the Pac-Man with the simple black and white screens, the Q-Bert and the Centipede, which were based on the NES version of Q-Bert and the Atari 7800 version of Centipede, went with a nice color screen and a game ROM. And they, in our opinion, in my opinion as well, they raised the benchmark on what these little inexpensive things can go for. Now the Pac-Man and Space Invaders went for about $17 initially, and dropped down to about $9, and they were a bargain at $9, I thought. Now the Frogger's back around the $16 mark. The Q-Bert and the Centipede are around $19, and I think this is totally worth the $19. I think they're really nice. But again, going with a color static screen, I wasn't so sure I was going to like it. But I understand, even before they released it, why they were doing it. They were trying to give a throwback of the original 1982-83 version of the Coleco Frogger. Not so much the Excalibur unit, because that's still a copy of the original ColecoVision. But let's just take a quick look here. There's my dog Blue. He's all happy. He loves these games. You can stay there for me, Blue, right? You stay right there. So if I'm going to do a test mode here of the Pac-Man, you can see the screen is very hard to see. Actually, it's almost impossible to see here with this lighting. But the sound effects are really, really good. So that was kind of nice. But when you went from something like that, did you like that, Blue? Did you like that? Well, maybe next time you'll tell me. Now, when you went to the Q-Bert and the Centipede, you can see they went with a nice TFT style display, and this is actually the NES version of Q-Bert. But you can see it was totally worth the $19. I mean, it's a really fun game. The joystick was done in a nice way. It was all around a really nice unit. Now they're coming out with the Frogger here. We're going to start this up here for you. We'll do the demo mode up here. See if we can get this going, right, Blue? So it's a nice backlit LCD. I mean, I know it's not as good as the Q-Bert over here, but let's turn this one on here again and take a look at it. I mean, it's really a nice display. I mean, I'm not sure how well the camera picks it up. It's a high definition camera, but the screen is really, really nice, and I understand exactly why they did that. Now, the one fortunate thing is the screen size here is the same size as these guys. So if I ever did want to put a Raspberry Pi in here, you can follow my tutorials on my channel. So far I have the first two, which is how to build the hardware, and my new one being worked on will be the software. But I'm not even sure if I'm going to do it to this. I mean, I have to admit, the side art on like the Pac-Man, the Space Invaders, the Q-Bert, the Centipede, I thought were awesome and spot on. I'm not a fan, I will say, of the side art on the Frogger. It's definitely not like the arcade, but I do like this more than I thought I would. And I thought I was going to be one of the people like, you know what, I'm not buying this, it's garbage, they didn't listen to me. But it actually is really crisp, very sharp, and it plays pretty well. And again, what they were trying to do with this is try and recreate the Frogger here, which will turn on. Do you want to stay there? Good boy, you stay right there. So if I turn on the Frogger here from Coleco, you can see this is called a VFD, which stands for Video Fluorescent Display, which back in the 80s was all the rage with VCRs, clocks, and everything. But it's very bright, you can see it in daylight, and back then that was what you would get for a really good home console. They did have LCDs, but the VFDs are really, really nice. They do require a lot of power. This required 4C batteries to play. But now let's put the new Frogger next to it. Now, of course, the new Frogger is LCD backlit, but you can see it's pretty nice when compared to the original, and that's, I think, what they really were shooting for, to get that kind of look. And when you take that into account, this is actually pretty nice. I mean, it does play and sound pretty good. Now, I'm going to take a quick pull back here and look over at the Excalibur Frogger. Now, this was done different. Now, this Excalibur unit does not have a VFD like that. This actually is using an LCD, but it's not backlit. Instead, what they did was, the screen's up here, and sunlight has to come through the top of the screen, and it hits a mirror to see it. Now, if I turn it on right now, it is on. You can barely see it. But if I raise this up higher and get some light in here, let's see if I can do this. There we go. So you can see how they're doing it, but it requires a lot of light. Now, again, most kids probably would have took this in the car and used it that way, in which case there would have been plenty of sunlight. But again, even the Excalibur unit here was trying to mimic this Coleco Minicade, right, Blue? So I think overall, I'm pretty happy with this. I mean, I paid $16, and I got free shipping out because I bought two. And the reason was I was going to take one of these and turn it into a Raspberry Pi, and I still may. You know, knowing me, I can never leave something alone. But I'm going to say I know a lot of people were very angry that they went with this type of screen over what they had with the Centipede. And I have to say, I'm actually pretty pleased with it. It plays pretty well. See if I can start this up here. Whoop. See if I can start it this way here. And you see the sounds are good. So if the joystick's well, and they've done the same thing here where they made it a four-way only stick, like they did with Q-Bert and Centipede. Now the Space Invaders and the Pac-Man did not have these limiters in there. But you know what? I'm going to say, guys, I know a lot of people are angry about this, but I'm kind of liking it. I saw the Pac-Man today at Walmart. I did not buy it because the box was damaged. Someone opened it up and pulled it out, and I won't buy something like that. But in comparing it to that Pac-Man there, it really did look kind of nice. Again, I still think I would like mine, which has the Raspberry Pi in it. But again, for what these are going for, I figure $16 or less, depending where you go get them, they're not bad, guys. I would say go to the store, hit the demo mode and see for yourself. I kind of like it. That's just my opinion. I definitely feel they're much improved over the Pac-Man and Space Invaders. They're not quite as good as these guys here, the Q-Bert or the Centipede. But again, that's not what they were going for. They're looking at doing something like this. And for that, I like to take my hat off to them, because I think they did a pretty nice job. And I hope you guys at least enjoyed the video. It's a quick one. I'll do a more in-depth review of it when I get the Asteroids. Yes, you heard me right. They're supposed to make an Asteroid as well as the Pac-Man. Now, I cannot honestly fathom how they're going to make this type of display with Asteroids, unless they do something like the MGA Asteroids, which I'm not a fan of. But maybe in that one they did use a TFT display. Now, again, I got this Frogger from Toys R Us. My understanding is that Walmart is going to be getting what they call the 256 color TFT version of the games. This Frogger came from, again, Toys R Us. So I'm going to see if they carry Frogger eventually at the Walmart with a different type of display. Because there's supposed to be actually three in this version. 4 was the Q-Bert. 5 and 6 and 7 are supposed to be the new Pac-Man with a color screen Asteroids, and Frogger. So let's see what comes up. They're supposed to be out between now and September. So guys, again, thanks for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and give the game a try. You might find out that this display is actually, like I'm starting to think, not so bad when you take into account what it's supposed to represent and be. So again, thanks for watching. Blue, thanks for staying here with me as well. Everyone, remember, game on. Sit, Blue, Blue, sit. Good dog.